Feels very odd, but anyway, that's what we're going to do. It's very strange, isn't it? There's a little thing here which she said she saw on TikTok. Oh no, maybe that's a bit too much. Would you like to see how I created this JLo glowy makeup look on my mature, nearly 70-year-old skin? Then please keep watching. Hello, I'm Des and welcome to my channel. I'm a nearly 70-year-old woman who loves to talk about beauty, fashion and other bits and bobs that make me happy. So you may be wondering why on earth I chose to do JLo's glowy look when she, I think, is still in her 40s, or she might have just turned 50 and I'm nearly 69. Well, I just happened upon her video while browsing and I just thought it looked like a really interesting way of making yourself up, and it was combining underpainting, which has been very popular lately, as well as the latte makeup look, which is even more popular and is all over YouTube at the moment. And I thought, well, I wonder if someone like me who doesn't look like JLo, I don't even have her colour skin, but I do have, I think, an olive undertone, whether that technique and whether those colours would suit me. Now, I haven't got the makeup that she's got. I haven't gone out and bought any special makeup. I'm just going to be using my own makeup. And I hope that will give you confidence that if you want to follow along with me or you want to have a go at this makeup, you'll be able to find something in your makeup box to play with and have fun with. Now, just to mention, in JLo's video, she certainly has some serious eyelashes going on. I don't know whether they are falsies or whether they're those sort of semi-permanent lashes, but I don't have those. I've just got my regular lashes. In fact, I definitely am in need of an eyelash lift, which I'm going to be having tomorrow. Now, I've prepped my skin, but not exactly in the way that JLo does it in her video. And by the way, her video, along with all the products that I use, will be listed in the info box below. I'm not going to put them on the screen. They'll just be in the info box below. And all you need to do is click more and you will see all the links to the products that I've used today. So I've prepped my skin with my vitamin C, and at the moment I am using the Dermatology vitamin C. And then I've also used a fairly new to me sunscreen, which is called Cetaphil. And again, I'll put the links down below for you. Right, the first thing that JLo does is she applies concealer to her under eyes and also where she's got any redness. And I'm going to use the Hourglass Vanish Concealer. So let me apply concealer here, here, and where I have redness. Quite a lot of places, actually, to be honest, under here, a bit on my chin. Yeah, that's probably enough. And then what she does is she blends it with a large flat brush. So I'm going to use this flat brush by Eldridge, which I haven't been using as a foundation brush much, but actually it might work quite well as a blending brush for this technique, because this is where we're starting the underpainting, because this is putting your concealer on before your foundation, which is very interesting to me because it's not a technique that I've tried. One of my good friends here on YouTube, Tina of Tina Her Beautiful Journey, did an underpainting video, which I'll link down below for you, which looked pretty good, I thought. But I hadn't really thought about this being an underpainting kind of video until I watched JLo's video, and it wasn't badged as such, of course. It was just a technique that she said she had been taught by Kevin Aquan, I think. Right, the next stage is to do some contouring, which I'm slightly nervous about because I've never really contoured before. And JLo has a really lovely palette full of different colours, and she mixes some, and I don't have that. I'm going to be using the bronzers that I have, and I'm going to start, as she does, with a very dark bronzer, and it's this one by Revolution. And what she does is she uses it more as a bronzer, actually, I would say, this first stage of her contouring. And so we're going to use this very dense foundation brush, as she uses a foundation brush. And what she does is she takes it under the cheekbones. I mean, where are my cheekbones? Here. So, feels a bit scary, but it's, oh my goodness. That is very dark. On the forehead. And under the chin. Like that. It's a bit scary, isn't it? And then she uses a thinner brush with a lighter colour. So I think we're going to go back to the concealer brush that we used. And so for the lighter shade contour, we're going to use this Milk Makeup, which doesn't look all that much lighter really, but I've only got 3. Now she only uses cream contouring products, so that's why I've stuck to these rather than any powders that I've got. And with this lighter colour, she does a bit of nose contouring. So let's do that. Ooh. This feels very odd, but anyway, that's what we're going to do. I don't know whether that's showing up at all even. Maybe this is the wrong sort of brush. I think I'm going to use a thinner brush actually. I think that's a little bit too thick. I'll tell you what, let's use the other end of this one. That might be better. You can tell I haven't done this before, can't you? But that's the beauty and the fun of playing with makeup. And actually one of the things that JLo does say is Kevin Aquan, the makeup artist, taught her that of course makeup is just makeup. You can always wash it off. I don't know why my nose is very pliable, but it's not going on terribly easily. Anyway, you get the picture. So the next thing is some light concealer again to contour with, I think. And we're going to use the e.l.f. Camo Concealer because I think this is one of the lightest that I've got. And what we're going to do with this is more nose contouring. I think we go on the outside like that. And then more under the eyes. Gosh, this is really weird, but it's all going to be blended. It's very strange, isn't it? Still, have confidence. If she can do it, we can do it. And then she blends carefully without touching the bronzer. Now, whether that's going to work, I don't know, but let's see how we do. Now, the next part is very interesting to me, and actually I've recently seen this somewhere else. I know where it was. It was on Glam Girl Gabby's video, which she just brought out about how to make your lips pouty. And what JLo says, and also what Gabby says, is you're going to draw a brown line around your lips to make them more pouty. And it seems counterintuitive because we always talk about brown knocking things back or dark colours knocking things back and light colours bringing things forward. But in this instance, it really seems to work. So let's give it a go. And I'm going to use this Beauty Pie brush, which is dense and fine, to do this contouring. And I think I'll use the Revolution again. So I'm going to get some on my brush. Like so. I'm going to get my little 10 by 10 mirror. I'm getting nervous about this. It doesn't look quite dark enough, so I'm going to try the Charlotte Tilbury. Let's see if that's a bit darker. Doesn't make a lot of difference, does it really? So we're going over the line, over the lip line. Okay. Now we're going to apply foundation, and JLo mixes 3 different foundations or uses 3 different ones. Now I'm just going to use a couple, and because I'm trying to emulate JLo's looks, even though I'm not her colouring, I'm going to be using some warmer shades that I do have because I think my skin somehow, either my perception of my skin is that it's warmer or my perception over the last 50 years has been wrong. And I'm going to be using the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation in 13, this one here. And for the lighter foundation, I'm going to use the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation, this one, and that is in Patagonia. But first she starts with the dark one. So let's apply that, and I'm going to use this foundation brush. I'm going to put a pump on there. Now she applies the darker one on the cheeks, the chin, and the forehead, so that's what we're going to do. So this is where we're starting to blend it out. So then she uses the lighter foundation on the rest of the face. So let's add a couple of pumps of that. And this is the Nars Light Reflecting, I can't speak. And this is the Nars Light Reflecting Foundation in Patagonia. So let's do that. Okay, we're onto the eyes now, and JLo has a really nice Tom Ford palette. It's a quad. I don't have that, so I'm going to be using my NYX Ultimate Queen palette, and I'm going to use 4 colours. And I'm going to start with the darkest brown, so I'm going to use this one here, and I will list all the colours that I use down below for you. And I'm going to use this very fine, thin but relatively wide brush, and I'm going to dip it into this dark brown here, tap that off, and firstly go under the eyes here, and I'm going to pull these out a bit because I always find this tricky. I always find this eye trickier because this is my distance eye, because I have one eye for distance and one for reading. Ooh. There we are. And then she does this really interesting thing. It looks like she's doing tight lining, but with a brush. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lift, and excuse me if you're a bit squeamish, forgive me. I'm going to lift my eye up like this because it's the only way I can do tight lining. And I'm going to kind of stamp this on. See, it's interesting, it really does work with powder actually. It doesn't feel like there's been any fallout in my eyes. I mean, I think if you've got lenses, you might want to use a pencil just to be on the safe side, but actually it seems to have worked very well. I don't wear lenses. I had laser eye treatment about 11 years ago, so I think I'm fine with that. Then she uses a lighter colour on the lid, so sort of the transition shade. So for transition, and actually mostly above the crease and on the lid itself. Interestingly, no powder apart from this has been mentioned so far. So there's no powdering of lids, there's no prepping of lids really, apart from having put the concealer on, I think. No prepping of lids, nothing in the lid space really. In fact, no primer of any kind. Interesting. And then she uses a sort of mid-brown, and we're going to use this one here. I'm just going to sort of pat it around. I mean, I can't do what she does because my eyes are so wrinkly that we're just going to have to do an approximation of what she does. And there's going to be a lot of blending going on. Now JLo doesn't put mascara on straight away, she puts blush on first, so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to use this lovely Merit Cheeky blush. This one here, absolutely beautiful, love this. Now JLo uses a brush, so I think we'll do that just to be accurate. Oh, actually that's come out rather well. Now the next thing JLo uses is highlighter, and I'm going to use the Lisa Eldridge Elevated Glow in Crystal Nebula, I think it's called. It comes in a big doe foot, so I'm just going to pop some on my hand there. And then I'm going to pick it up with a little tiny brush. I think this is a little wee, can you see, little pointy, dense brush. And she applies this under the brow, like that. And also down the nose, like that, interestingly. Now the next thing she does is go over her lips, but around her lips and just under here with a very dark pencil. Now I don't actually have a very dark pencil. This is the darkest one I've got, which is by Charlotte Tilbury. I think it's called Hot Gossip. So we're just going to try that and let's see how we go. Like that. And she also does a little thing here, which she said she saw on TikTok. I don't exactly know why. And she also does a little line just there, and then she adds, that's very weird, isn't it? And then she adds a lip gloss. Now, I don't have the right shade lip gloss. I don't have a goldy one, so I'm going to use the Lisa Eldridge, I think it's Lucent Lips or something. Again, all the details will be down below. Right, let's give this a go. It does feel slightly weird. But the idea is it makes your lips look super pouty. I think we might have to adjust these two in a minute. Interesting. I think we'll just get rid of that tiny little middle bit there, but actually the one underneath, oh no, maybe that's a bit too much, isn't it? Let's just deal with that. And this one, pouty or what? Okay, now rather belatedly I feel we come to eyebrows, and this is just the order that JLo does it. So she has, I can't remember what she uses now. I think, oh yeah, she uses an ABH pencil, but I've only got a Bobbi Brown. So I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown in brown, and I'm going to try and be as feathery as I can because I'm usually quite heavy-handed with pencils, which is why I tend not to use them. But this is actually quite a thick one. I mean, my brows are never going to look like JLo's, let's face it, but we can only do what we can do with the material we've got, can't we? So the next thing is to take some Makeup Forever powder, which I actually happen to have. I've got a little mini that I bought last year, and I'm just going to put it under my eyes as she does, like that. And believe it or not, mascara is the very last thing to be done, because this is a glowy look, so I suppose that's why there's not a lot of powder involved in this. I mean, I can see I've got a little bit sweaty there. So if it were me, in fact it is me, I'm going to just do a bit of dabbing, because I'm not sure a sweaty upper lip is quite the glowy look that we're going for. Okay, so we've got the powder on, and the final thing to do, is mascara. Now her lashes, JLo's lashes, are not my lashes, and she is actually wearing falsies of some kind. I think they're probably semi-permanent. So I'm going to be using the Max Stack mascara, which I absolutely love. Oops, little blob on the end there. Let's get rid of that. I mean, that's just with one coat. Pretty good, huh? So there you have it. What do you think? It does feel like I've got a lot of makeup on, but actually I think it looks pretty good, and I don't think it does look over made up on camera anyway. And I think I might consider doing something, maybe a little bit of a pared down version of this for the wedding that I'm going to. And let me know in the comments below, would you try this technique? I mean, it was fun to do, I must say, and I would recommend having a go. But I think probably us mature women might pare some of it down a bit, unless we're going to be on camera. And if you've enjoyed this video, I'd be so grateful if you'd give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you can't get enough of me, and who can, then you can subscribe to my monthly newsletter, and the link is in the description box below. Every month I talk about not just my favourite beauty and fashion items, but also music, books, podcasts and other bits and bobs that make us all happy. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. And I hope you're all doing really well. And I'll look forward to seeing you on my next video. Bye.